The 1990-91 NHL season ended in one of the most bizarre finishes ever, with the top 4 teams in the league all losing in the early rounds of the playoffs. While it was little consolation for the New York Rangers and their fans, they too would stumble in the opening round. But despite the early playoff elimination, the 1990-91 Rangers enjoyed their longest stretch atop the Patrick Division in club history.
Moving in, puts it in front, they score! That was across the line, and it's Stephen Rice's first NHL goal!
Dazzling new sensations earned glowing reviews and combined with some of hockey's most talented stars to lift the Rangers to a new level of excellence. For the second year in a row, the Rangers would lead the league in power play goals, sending a surge of electricity through New York's hockey world. For the New York Rangers, the 1990-91 season was a power play year.
Shepard to Turcotte, he scores! A power play goal! Leetch to Turcotte, he scores! A power play goal!
New York City, October 8th, 1990. Although the Rangers have lost their first 2 games of the new season, the atmosphere surrounding Madison Square Garden is buzzing with activity as Ranger fans prepare for the 1990 home opener.
Rangers!
Going to the game tonight, I can't wait. Opening day, they're gonna raise the banner tonight.
The opening night is different than any other night. You have to be here on opening night.
And tonight we're putting up our Patrick Division Championship banner. And I'm very excited to be here.
Inside the Garden, the crowd's anticipation turned into adoration as the Patrick Division Championship banner was raised to the Garden ceiling.
The 1990-91 New York Rangers!
The ceremony seemed to spark a fresh new spirit into the boys in blue. And almost magically, this year's edition of the New York Rangers came to life. Second-year star Darren Turcotte scored early on against the North Stars, and the Rangers never looked back. Head coach Roger Nielsen watched as his team defeated Minnesota 5-3 and went on to paint a masterpiece of NHL hockey in the month of October. With an intriguing blend of offensive firepower led by veterans Mike Gartner and Bernie Nichols, and a highly skilled defensive core featuring Brian Leetch, this team set out to perfect one of life's simple truths. There is no place like home.
Come on, Leetchy, baby! Now to Leetch, on the fly. Leetch moves in against Snyder. Set up,
The Rangers rocketed through the entire first month of the season without losing a single game at the Garden. 8 straight home victories, the longest winning streak to begin a season in Ranger history, launched this team right to the top of professional hockey.
It all just started to come together and everybody started to play well. Our goaltending played extremely well for us. And everybody just started to pull together, and we ended up getting off to a great start.
King turning, shooting, score! And the joint is jumping.
Everybody was saying the Rangers are for real. You know, they got a good team, and I think the big part of it is that we believed it ourselves, and we were the hottest team in hockey in the first month and a half.
Leading the way for the red-hot Rangers was all-star center Darren Turcotte. While the team was off to one of its best starts ever, Darren Turcotte's early play was tremendous.
He's in! He scores!
Pumped sky high throughout an 11-game scoring streak to start the season, Turcotte and the Rangers soon found themselves perched high atop the Patrick Division standings with an 11-3 record, the finest in the NHL.
As an offensive player, the more you play.
While the media's attention is often drawn to hockey's great goal scorers, there are those who feel that it is the goalkeepers who actually save the games.
Well, you played great last night, Ricky.
Yeah, I was telling that to all the newspaper guys. No, they didn't. They kept talking about Kelly with 4 assists.
This season, goalies John Van Beesbrook and Mike Richter became known as New York's dynamic duo.
I'll tell you about the time I stopped that 5-on-0. Yeah, there it was.
Was it Edmonton?
I think it was, but that was back when Wayne was playing. Yeah. It's before I was in the league.
Faced with the delightful dilemma of having 2 first-string goalies on his squad, Roger Nielsen figured that the only fair thing to do was to have them take turns.
We told the goalies that we planned to alternate at the start, and we just felt that it takes the guesswork out of it. The team knows the goalkeepers are alternating, they know, and they can get ready for the game. You always have a fresh goalie. There were a lot of advantages to it, and I thought it worked very well.
Open man, all alone, Peterson, save Van Beesbrook. John Gretzky shoots, glove save by Richter. Leaves it for Russ Cardinal, he shoots, save Van Beesbrook. The Robitaille for the shot blocked, the rebound, save by Richter. Moving in for the shot, save, and Beesbrook has it.
After a while, I think it made it an easy way to coach the goalies. And, you know, there wasn't a one head case or one guy really feeling good about himself, but you know, it was fun because I learned a lot from him, and I hope that he learned a lot from me, and that's what 2 guys working together in a good situation can do for each other.
You become big fans for each other just because you're going through similar things, and I think a real important part about it is that the 2 goalies who are playing have to get along and respect each other's talents. It's a frustrating thing to feel that someone's in there and, wow, I could be in there doing better. But you look this year and we were really comparable in our play, and I have a lot of respect for Johnny as a goalie, and I think I had to earn his respect because I'm a new guy coming in, and that eventually took place, and he worked with me very, very well, and I think we pushed each other.
Like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the Van Beesbrook-Richter combination won more than their share of battles against enemy sharpshooters. This season, John Van Beesbrook recorded 3 brilliant shutouts, including a magnificent performance against Montreal on October 12th, the first Ranger shutout over the Canadiens in more than 20 years.
Goes all the way for a shot, knocked away from the blocker. LeBeau, steady Van Beesbrook. The Rangers and John Van Beesbrook, a shutout for Montreal Canadiens.
Meanwhile, Mike Richter was piling up a save percentage of better than 90%, the 3rd highest in the league. A finalist for this year's Vezina Trophy, the young goaltender smashed the club record for saves in a single contest when he stopped an incredible 59 shots in a game against Vancouver.
Saved by Richter as he robs Gerald Dinnick. Centers for Kron. Saved by Richter. He's got it. Adams moves in. Saved by Richter. He's got it.
Tell you what, Sam. When this game's over and if it finishes 3-3, the first star should be Richter, the second star should be Richter, and the third star should be Richter. This guy's been unbelievable.
Together, Mike Richter and John Van Beesbrook were setting the stage for a record first-place run for the New York Rangers. The the Rangers battled their way through the black and blue Patrick division on the strength of a stunning 10-game unbeaten streak in the month of November. Mark Janssens, Chris King, and Troy Millette continued to open eyes around the league as the tough, new-look Rangers.
Everybody's got their part. A big hit at a certain time of the game, a big goal by someone that scores goals is, you know, a big boost to everyone. And just as if I was to go out and make a big hit on someone, and 5 minutes later, Bernie Nichols goes down and scores because he got pumped too. Whereas, you know, Bernie Nichols might go down and make a nice goal, and I'll say, holy geez, that was nice, and go out and get a big hit in a couple minutes from that.
Scratching and clawing their way through every shift, their never-say-die spirit helped open up the ice for one of the league's most prolific scoring attacks. During the 1990-91 season, a total of 7 different Rangers scored over 50 points. Brian Mullen's 43 assists were a career high this year. And on October 31st, the New York native moved into hockey's elite when he scored the 500th point of his career.
John gets it to Leetch. Leetch for Mullen. Mullen with a shot. Score!
And for Brian Mullen, it's point number 500 in his National Hockey League career.
Recognized as one of the hardest working players in the game, team captain Kelly Kissio also reached the 500-point plateau this season, and left winger John Ogrodnik followed last year's spectacular showing with 23 assists and 31 goals, the second highest on the team. His plus-minus rating of plus 15 was tops amongst all Rangers. When New York general manager Neil Smith picked up the phone in July and bought right winger Ray Shepherd's contract from the Buffalo Sabres for the discount price of $1, he had no idea just how far that dollar would go.
Really, the dollar thing came up just because it was a transaction that there had to be some statement made about what we gave up to get Shepherd. So we said cash, and then of course the question is how much cash. So we just said, well, it was $1. You know, we really, it was really just taking over the contract.
Ray Shepherd came up big, time after time, as the Rangers watched their $1 investment pay back huge dividends.
Rebound, Shepherd scores! Ray Shepherd does it again!
In his first year with the Rangers, Shepherd notched 7 game-winning goals, the highest on the team. Another of GM Neil Smith's blue-chip acquisitions, Mike Gartner, number 22, turned in a record-setting year. Smith brought the 12-year veteran to New York late last season to add to the club's firepower. What he got was a speed-skating marksman whose 49 goals this season set a Ranger record for goals by a right winger.
I rely a lot on my speed, and I think over the years I've tried to develop different ways to put the puck in the net, not just going down the wing and shooting a slap shot or coming around the net or jumping into holes, but possibly being in front of the net, tips, rebounds, a lot of different things. And when you get into that area, you're going to get hacked and whacked a lot, and that's what happens, but you're also going to be able to score some goals in that area as well.
He's tough, man. He stands in front of their net. People break sticks over him, and he's still there standing there tipping the puck in. He's quick, he's got a great shot. You know, anytime you play with a guy that's so fast, they just open up the play so much for you. You know, for me, being a centerman, like to handle the puck, when you play with somebody as fast as Mike, the defensemen have to back off, and they give you so much room to work the middle. If they cheat and try to stand up on you, just dump it over to Mike skating 90 miles an hour, you know, and he's gone.
Nichols. Down the middle, Gartner gets the pass and scores!
Mike Gartner and Bernie Nichols gave the Rangers a brilliant 1-2 scoring punch. Now a year removed from Los Angeles, Broadway Bernie Nichols felt right at home under the lights in Manhattan. An all-star with glittering credentials, Nichols operates best in the spotlight.
He's in constant motion, always, and it never stops. He gets up in the morning and he's always doing something, not necessarily constructive things like, gardening or cleaning or doing the garage or anything like that. It's always play, and he takes it very seriously. And until 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, then he lays down and he's out. But until then, he goes all the time.
I don't know, I just can't sit in one place very long, I'm always going. I have a little room built in there that it's good for me because after games, I'm usually so wired I can't sleep anyway, so I'll come home after I eat, 1 or 2 in the morning, I'll be downstairs putting or driving balls, stuff like that. It's pretty good to get away. I've always been fascinated by sharks. I really enjoy sharks, and they're always moving on the go, and that's kind of like me too. I could be bad company a lot of times because I don't like to sit and visit that long. I have to be going and moving somewhere. Oh, I missed you for the last 4 games.
Bernie Nichols' free spirit added some spice to the Rangers' daily practice routine.
I missed you. Now we gotta find John. I didn't know Bees' wife cut hair. Rick, you want someone who knows how to shoot him? Haven't said a word about you, Cal.
No, is that so?
Wait till we get behind them, then we'll start.
I don't know about that.
The Carefree Center racked up 73 points this year, the second highest total on the club. He hit his hottest stretch in late December with a 9-game scoring streak that helped the Rangers end 1990 with a firm grip on first place.
Rangers are doing everything right.
To start off the new year, they would welcome the Los Angeles Kings into the Garden for their first big test of 1991. The Rangers-Kings series this year was one of hockey's most intriguing matchups.
Score Rangers!
It was East against West in a classic showdown between 2 divisional leaders. Earlier in the season, the Rangers had crushed the Kings 9-4 and 6-4. Tonight, they were looking to sweep the Hollywood tough guys back to the coast. The Rangers jumped out to a 2-goal lead early on, and when John Ogrodnik knocked in his own rebound to make it 3-0, it was all over for the boys from L.A.
Ogrodnik shoots, saved by Rudy, rebound, score! John Ogrodnik!
While Ranger fans celebrated the victory, the team had little time to savor their impressive triumph. Underneath the Garden seats, everyone was busy packing for another NHL road trip. Riding the crest of a 5-game unbeaten streak, it was a happy team of Rangers who would board the plane bound for Pittsburgh.
The road trips, I like it because it builds the camaraderie between the players. The guys on our team were very close this year, and a good group of guys. So you spend an awful lot of time with them, it makes a difference.
Oh, hey, I have something to show you. This is great. You're gonna love this. Right? Isn't that nice? Yep, that's my favorite player right there.
Well, it's the top of the 7. I just took the lead, 7-6. Defensive game. It's almost like the game's in 3D. I see things flying by my face.
There's card playing, there's guys reading, listening to Walkmans, sleeping. Seems to be a favorite pastime by a lot of the guys. Yeah, everybody has their own way to relax and unwind.
The team arrived in Pittsburgh well after midnight and headed straight for the hotel to catch some rest before their game against the Penguins later that same day.
Colts leading his troops to victory.
Nielsen's Road Warriors entered Pittsburgh Civic Arena with a confident stride and exploded for 6 second-period goals, extending their unbeaten streak to 6 games. The next morning, it's checkout time and off to another airport, another hotel, and another NHL arena.
If it's a long road trip, it can be tough. If you're hitting a lot of cities at once, you may not even, each city is a hotel room and a rink, and that's how you judge, geez, Vancouver's nice because I like the locker rooms or something, not much to do with their city.
There's a lot of empty time on the road when you're traveling around, especially on long road trips. And usually the guys get together and go for dinner the night before a game, or a lot of times guys are really together, even though we're together a lot playing the game and in the dressing room and everything. We're kind of one big family, I guess you could say, in a lot of respects when you're traveling as well.
Next stop for the high-flying Rangers, St. Louis.
Knocked loose by Turcotte. Turcotte kicks it in front. O'Grodnik shoots and he scores! John O'Grodnik!
In what may have been the team's best road performance of the year, the Rangers and the Blues battled to a hard-fought 2-2 tie after 2 periods. Goaltender Mike Richter knew he would have to survive a furious 3rd period.
Wilson sends in Brindamore. He shoots. Saved by Richter. Another save by Richter. Pass in center. Sets up Brindamore. Saved by Richter. Here's another shot by Sutter, and Richter another save. Toward the net. Save Richter, and he holds on. And
the splendid rookie was flawless. He completely shut down the high-scoring Blues, forcing an overtime period. Then, Bernie Nichols decided to take matters into his own hands.
Rochefort, he shoots, save Riendo, rebound, score! Bernie Nichols, the Rangers win!
Bernie Nichols' dramatic overtime goal beat the Blues in their own building and capped off one of the most thrilling games of the season for the Rangers and their high-octane offense. For the 2nd year in a row, New York led the entire league in power play goals, this time with 91.
Now low, Mullen in front, score! It's a power play goal! Shepard to Turcotte, he scores! A power play goal for Darren Turcotte!
Our power play remained pretty well the same the last 2 years. Leetch and Patrick are the main reason it's successful. They're 2 of the better point men in the league. And then we have O'Grodnik and Gartner, who are 2 of the best scorers in the league in front of the net. And we've got key guys like Nichols or Kissio on that side, and shooters like Turcotte and Mullen on the other side. So we were able to always put out 2 complete units, a minute each. And so teams knew they were in for 2 different completely different units every time, and I think that paid off for us.
When the Rangers have the man advantage, the man they turn to is Brian Leetch.
It's a power play goal!
1990-91 was a record-breaking season for the Rangers' young defenseman. In only his 3rd year in the NHL, Leetch has already shattered many of Hall of Famer Brad Park's scoring records. He was the only Ranger to play in all 80 games this year, and he led the team in scoring with 88 points, making him the highest-scoring Ranger defenseman in history. Even more impressive is Leetch's remarkable total of 72 assists, the most assists in a single season by any New York Ranger ever.
The athletic ability that Brian has is unsurmountable, because it doesn't matter if you're playing hockey, golf, baseball. He goes out there and he's just a natural at it, and you just turn your head and you go, wow, he could do anything. His Bobby Orr style of rushes have really influenced the game for the New York Rangers. I mean, leading point getter on our team this year, and probably our most influential player out on the ice. And you can really see it from a goaltender standpoint. And I think that other teams have to prepare to defend against Brian Leetch.
The two-time All-Star was the anchor of a Ranger defensive unit that also featured team leader James Patrick. The 8-year Ranger veteran recorded 59 points this season, the second highest of his career. And together with Randy Moeller, David Shaw, Norman Rochefort, and Mark Hardy, this defense teamed up to allow the fewest goals of any New York Ranger team in almost 20 years. Hockey fever was running rampant throughout Madison Square Garden. The New Yorkers were in the midst of a gallant run for glory. Center Kelly Kissio and hard-charging forward Jan Eriksson refused to be outworked. Their all-out hustle and determination lifted the team to a higher level. Eriksson's constant extra effort was rewarded with a team-high 3 shorthanded goals, while Kissio's rock-solid play led a New York Ranger team which grabbed a hold of first place in early October and held on for a record-setting reign as king of the Patrick Division. However, uneasy lies the head that wears a crown. For 153 days, this Ranger team ruled first place. But as the Ides of March approached, the Rangers' triumph turned to frustration. It has been said that in life, timing is everything. Perhaps this team's greatest sin was that it peaked too soon. The team slid into a desperate 8-game losing streak and lost control of first place. Their struggle was etched on the faces of their fans as the team searched for an explanation.
It's tough to play with confidence in a slump. I mean, you want to go out there and be the difference in every game you play, but then another one slips by, and you can't wait for the next game to start, and then that one slips by, and you just get so anxious and so frustrated.
You do everything you can to break out of a slump. Sometimes you get upset, then that doesn't work. You sometimes try to bring players in, you change your lineup around. We finally changed our goalkeeping rotation. It was a difficult time, and when you lose 8 in a row, that's pretty serious, and players know that it could cost them their jobs, and things get pretty edgy, but we finally broke out of it just in the last 4 games.
It was an inspired Rangers squad that took to the ice in Game 1 of the playoffs against the Washington Capitals. A tough, intimidating style of play, led by late-season acquisition Joey Kocur and forwards Paul Broughton and Chris King, kept the Capitals off balance. Then, in one of the most spectacular goals of the season, Jan Eriksson's undeniable second effort resulted in the game's first goal.
Jan Eriksson moving in. Eriksson taken down. He scores! What a play by Jan Eriksson! A spectacular effort by Jan Eriksson.
And Turcotte feeds Eriksson a second effort by Eriksson. He's knocked down. Penalty was upcoming, but he found, look at that. I mean, his legs were up in the air. He's still concentrated. Watch Eriksson's legs. Up they go. He still shoots the puck. 1-0 Rangers, and the joint is jumping here in Madison Square Garden.
It was an extraordinary offensive display from one of the game's defensive wizards. Bernie Nichols' second period score secured the Rangers' victory in the series opener. Washington took Game 2, but in Game 3, a total team effort resulted in a 6-0 victory for New York, highlighted by a dazzling performance in net by Mike Richter. It was the goalkeeper's first ever NHL shutout.
The Rangers have shut out the Washington Capitals. First NHL shutout for Mike Richter. It comes in Game 3 of his best of 7.
The triumph, however, would be the Rangers' last, as the Capitals went on to win the series 4-2.
The fact that we lost in the first round is very disappointing for most of the players on the team. It's frustrating, and I think it wouldn't be as frustrating if we didn't think that we were a very talented team, capable of going far. And with the young talent you saw at the end of the season, Stephen Rice and Dougie Waite and Tony Amonte, Corey Mellon, just some great players coming in. And the veterans that are already here, and the fact that we're as well coaches we are, I really see that we have a good chance of going very far.
You learn and you live. You know, you learn from your mistakes, and you come out the better for it. No one's ever climbed a mountain, you know, without having their falls, and we just got to get up and keep driving.
Through it all, the New York Rangers today are considered one of the most gifted teams in the NHL. The pleasantly surprising play of newcomers Tony Amonte, Corey Mellon, Doug Waite, and Stephen Rice point to a future filled with promise and potential. GM Neil Smith has proclaimed his direction to add more character players to this roster of highly skilled Rangers.
I think that you'll see that we'll play hard every night, and that's the goal that I have for this organization, is to play hard every night, to really give it everything you've got, and not allow yourself to slip and slide into down times. You've got to know that as a professional, every night you've got to give it everything you've got. So I think that's the promise I can make to the fans, is that I'm going to make sure that's the type of people we have.
The New York Rangers are dressing for the 1991-92 NHL party, and they certainly will be considered amongst the most favored guests at this year's All-Star Affair.